What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Anime Champion Simulator, where today we're going to be looking at the holy grail of Rune lists, the best of the best guide that you can ever imagine, and it's all thanks to this beautiful soul here. He's also a tester for Anime Champions and also one of the main contributors in the ACS LB Hub. But besides Stan and his findings for this Rune guide that you're about to watch, we want to thank the contributors who also put in the effort to make this happen, because this Rune guide, it just answers all your dying questions in your head, like what's better, is this better, is that better, should I do this, should I do that? This will answer all of those questions. Let's get right into it. To start with, all of the information provided in today's video is based off of Update 17, and in Update 17 the meta to have in the game, the best of the best setup to have, is to have 5 warriors and 4 mages. One of the mages has to be a scaling unit. There's a lot of people that have the free scaling unit, which is maybe Dayjeee or something else. As long as it's 100% cosmic scaling unit, you'll be fine. Right now in the game, what you see in front of my screen are the best units that you can equip. The 5 Astrals are warriors, they're all equipped there. The other 4 that are equipped are mages, including that scaling unit. But in Anime Champions, your units mean nothing without the right runes to go along those units. This is a list of all the runes they can possibly get in the game and what they give you. However, what we're about to look at will tell you which ones you should be upgrading, which ones you should be keeping. And here they are right here on the list. This is page 1 of Stan's spreadsheet. I mean, like, let's take a moment to kind of like grasp the situation here. Like, look at the amount of testing that was done in order to make this happen. On the top left, it shows you the top passive runes, the usual ones that you have to have on your team: Wrath, Assault, Anarchy, Extermination, Acceleration. Those are the ones that you're going to put on your warriors, and then the other 4 are the ones that you're going to have on your mages if you have them. However, if you notice what they've done here, they've used the top 9 best units in the game, including a scaling unit being like their 4th mage to use, and they've done numerous testing with the Devourer. And what they found out is that Raging Onslaught and Devastating Blow are much better to have than Flurry of Fists. However, if you have Flurry of Fists, and let's say one of them is a boss damage, the top one specifically, then let's say that Devastating Blow doesn't have that. That means that you're better off having Flurry of Fists. But if you don't, if you have a choice and it's between these 3, then this test here, this like extensive testing, shows you that the best to have is Devastating Blow and also Raging Onslaught. If you can look at the bottom left, it says 9 best units plus Ancient Magus, all cosmic plus 1 fusion. It shows you that the best results were achieved using Devastating Blow and Onslaught versus Flurry of Fists and Raging Onslaught versus also Flurry of Fists and also Devastating Blow. It shows you that the best results achieved is from Devastating Blow and Raging Onslaught. But again, it all comes down to your main stat and your substat. In this testing, they did it using the worst possible main stat and substat, which is stun damage, and this is the result that they found. Next up, this is basically just a disclaimer as well as an example to show you guys what the format is used and what it looks like when it comes to describing the best stats of all of the units you're about to watch. Look at the top bar. It shows you from Meliodas all the way down to Griffith, and all the information is right there. However, on this next slide, what they've noticed is that conclusion from testing: when in doubt, go for main and substat rune that has boss, crit, and damage, because they notice that it's versatile for all builds and always in the upper ranks, and it has a priority. In this case, boss is number 1, crit damage is number 2, and then anything within those 3 stats is number 3. But when it comes to mages, they notice that boss damage is better than boss. That is just an eye-opener to me, because I always thought that boss would be the best, but no, they noticed that boss damage had better results, like barely noticeable results compared to boss. So basically, in summary, the best mage stat to have is boss damage, whereas the warrior best would be boss. Now, this information you guys have to just take a moment to look at. Take a screenshot, because you're gonna notice that all of the Astrals are basically the same thing. This shows you the best boss stats to have as well as the best mob damage to have. And you know what? You can also, when in doubt, you can look at the results yourselves. The numbers are there to prove which one is better, and also they've done some testing for each Astral to show you, like, for example, if you notice here for Meliodas, damage, and also punch damage, it gave them the same results. However, other Astrals, it's not the same, but very small difference. But the main thing about this list is now you know that the best boss stats to have, from the best one to the worst one, is right there, and for the mob damage dealer, the best one and also the worst one is right there. Because once you look at this, now you know which one you should take to level 50 and which one you should like stick to level, let's say 30 or 20. You'll have a better understanding once you look at this, and this information has been really helpful to me as well. Now if you notice, for Meliodas, crit damage and damage crit would be basically, they're the same thing. They gave them the best results, the same results, but when you go to Guts, it shows you that crit damage was better than damage crit, and the difference between them it's just very minimal. You can barely notice the difference. Once you equip your team, you equip these, it doesn't really matter. It's just a tiny difference between the two. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Goku. Crit damage was the best, and then crit speed is the second best. This time crit speed is the second best. However, if you look on the right, crit damage and damage crit, it's just a very tiny difference between the two. If we go ahead and look at Boros here, damage crit and then damage speed is next. This test or this spreadsheet only shows you the best stats for each of these Astrals, and it doesn't matter what your rune is as long as it's something for warriors, which means any of the runes that has on ability use are for mages. Anything that doesn't have that are for your warriors. And if you go to the beginning of when I started to talk about the spreadsheet, it shows you the top passive runes. So these stats that you see on the screen, it's all based on that. If you have Acceleration, Anarchy, Assault, Extermination, as well as Wrath, and you have these stats, that is the best of the best for warriors as of right now. And I'm gonna talk about mages later on, or the best mages in the game. But when we go ahead and let's look at Doflamingo here, you're gonna notice that just like Boros, damage crit seems to be better than crit damage, but again, the results, the difference is just very minimal. Moving on, we're gonna go to the fusion unit here, and now on the top left it shows you what the best stats are for the DPS dummy. It's no longer the same as the Astrals. We are now focusing on the DPS dummy because mages dominate the DPS dummies, and of course when you have like any stats with boss on it, it doesn't work on the DPS dummy. If you didn't know that already, it does not work on there. So the best to have, the best stats in general, are what you see on column A, from ability crit all the way down to crit being the worst one that you can possibly have. And the testing that they've done, I gotta say, is genius, because they equipped for their team. I've always wondered, how do they do this? How do they get this accurate when it comes to information? Turns out that they are equipping the commons from World 1, and they're putting those runes to get those team buffs on them, and that's how they get this result. But the big eye-opener and game changer, let's say, is the information provided down here below. Oh my god, is this actually happening? Am I reading this right? Crimson Demon Titan with Boss. Look at the results of that versus Crimson Demon Black Hole. That is, I mean, I have to do testing myself, or asking guys for information or maybe advice to test this out. Is this how people are getting so high up there on the dummy DPS, and also for their mages? We have to do some more testing to find this out, but that's what Stan and the others found when it comes to testing Crimson Demon Black Hole, and that, I have to say, is impressive. To even think of that is impressive. Now for this part, we got the test done by Rezu, which is basically aka Jonathan1, the guy that dominates leaderboards. I mean, he's on several different leaderboards in the game, and what he has found is, like we said before, boss damage seems to be better than boss when it comes to mages, and also the results for boss crit and boss ability right there. But for the Devourer testing, what they've done with Crimson Demon and Titan, they notice that 2 Ancient Magus plus fusion plus cosmic, it didn't give better results than to have 2 of the gods, Astral skin and cosmic. And that is new information to me. I'm definitely gonna try that out just to see what my results will be on the Devourer. So I mean, this information provided here is just absolutely wild. If you didn't know this already about the game, about all of this information really is helpful. Next up we have Escanor, DPS dummy, everything is there, the best stats for this one to use as a mage, because as you guys know, if you have 5 Astrals and you have 1 scaling unit mage, then you're gonna go ahead and equip these 2, which is Escanor as a mage and Griffith as well as your worst mages that you have in the team. But it shows you the best stats for them, and all the information is provided right there. I just have to say thank you so much to Stan and all of the contributors for really putting in the time and effort to get this out there for people to just like get a better understanding about the game and not being as lost. For me, I was lost for such a long time. I didn't have a good understanding about anything until I looked at this, and just a lot of people have helped me out. Huge shout out to Supreme Micah and also Jonathan1 for helping me and guiding me towards the best decisions when it comes to the runes. These are the runes that I currently have, and as you can see, they're not the best. One of them is an encouraging shout that has boss. That's the best one that I have, but then the others are just like, you know, they're okay, they're very mid. There's maybe 1 or 2 that's slightly above. There's a double boss rune, encouraging shout, that's the best one that I have and the only boss that I have. But thanks to the spreadsheet, thanks to the efforts from the guys behind the ACS LB Hub, to Stan especially, thanks to them, I now know that, thanks to the spreadsheet, I know that the Wrath boss damage I have is number 3 when it comes for the top boss stats to have. The acceleration with boss damage and also attack speed is number 4. Anarchy with boss damage and attack speed is also number 4. This gives me a clear understanding that these ones I should take to either level, let's say 35, 40, maybe 45 max, but not to 50 because they're not the best of the best and I can still do better. So thanks to their list, I now have a better understanding of how I compare to other players and why my results aren't as good as I would expect. Now I know that I have to grind my backside off when it comes to dungeons, and I'm going to talk about dungeons in just a moment, but this is what I have for Astrals, just to show you guys that you can have the best of the best Astrals in the game. I've got 10 of them, but they mean nothing without the right runes that you can possibly get for them. This is something that I currently am doing, and I highly advise you guys to do as well. If you have something that looks like this, where your main stat is good, however the substat is not good at all, keep them, because what O Trademark has said recently, especially on the ACS LB Hub, is that besides the dungeon rework that they're currently working on, which is gonna make dungeons more compact, easier to navigate, and much more fun, what they're thinking of doing is a way, and this isn't 100% information, don't take my word and go like, oh, this is gonna happen. This is only an idea so far, but it's enough of an idea for me to be ready for it. And what it basically is that you might be able to get a chance to reroll your substat on your rune. For example, if you have something that has, let's say, a Wrath stat, it has boss as the main stat and your substat is, for example, charge speed. If they implement this change, you will be able to reroll that charge speed and use whatever hard to obtain material you need in order to make it a boss rune. How awesome would that be if they actually implement that? It is currently an idea, but it's enough for me to make sure that I don't turn all of those runes that has a possibility of being something good into dust, unless I'm sure that they're not going to do that in the future. And to be honest with you, the way he said it, it seems like it's something that could happen. And so I'm not going to take any risks myself. If I get something with, let's say, boss as a main substat or damage or a crit, I'm going to keep that and just hope for a way in the future in which we could possibly reroll the substat and make it into something good. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the giveaway winner. This was for 2,000 Robux. It has to be something in ACS, only giftable in the game, not to any other game. Here is the winner, TK Gaming 5334. My guy is either the luckiest person in ACS or the smartest. To be honest with you, because I play a lot of RNG based games, I think that I just use that knowledge on this game and it seems to work out fine. That's the end of today's video, everyone. I just wanted to say thank you so much to Stan and all of the contributors for that spreadsheet. Thank you so much for all their hard work and making it easier for us and giving us a better understanding of the game. And just for that today, guys, I'm also going to be doing another giveaway. If you want to join that, all you have to do is be a subscriber, like this video, and comment down below with your Roblox username. That's all from me, everyone. Hope that you guys have a wonderful day or evening wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you all on the next one.